The Peace Dependency podcast is brought to you by Total Radness. Shop your Goofy Food Controller TWO merch and CTWC approved hardware on TotalRadNES.com. Welcome to the Peace Dependency podcast. I'm your host, Frank, also known as Sir Mason. The Classic Tetris World Championship is right around the corner. So this is a great time to once again invite CTWC organizer Vince Clemente to talk about the tournament. We went through a brief history of CTWC, highlighting various points of the already 12-year-old tournament. Vince also became active in the competitive community last year, so we did talk about that too. Last but not least, we talked about CTWC 2021, which will be held online once again. This is our conversation. Vince, welcome back to the Peace Dependency podcast, and thank you once again for joining me on the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Frank. Excited to be here. Excited to talk Tetris. You know, it's one of my favorite things to talk about.
Did you know that we talked almost exactly a year ago for episode 2 along with Adam Cornelius?
Oh, wow. So I guess happy birthday is in order.
Yeah. July 24th, 2020 was the day we had the conversation last year.
Oh, wow. Yeah, and that's when you originally were trying to schedule this for.
I just realized it because I was thinking last year, it should be around the same time. But this year, it suits me better to do it on a Saturday because I had on the Saturday, I would have your interview, which we now have on July 23rd. And then on July 25th, I will be in charge of the CTWC Mexico qualifier, which I will be restreaming and commentate for.
That's right. I'm excited to see how that goes. I mean, when you air this, it'll be in the past. So congrats.
It will be in the past.
To the winner.
Yeah, but the Mexico qualifier starts a 7-week run on the Classic Tetris channel, where pretty much every weekend there is either a national, regional, or community qualifier for CTWC 2021.
Correct. Yeah. It's the road to CTWC, as we're calling it, you know.
Is that different than last year?
No, not entirely. I mean, last year, I organized with the help of Chris Forrest and others. You know, we had about 7 or 8, and I reached out, personally to all the bigger online tournaments to see, who was interested, and it was a resounding yes from everyone. So it's so this year is just bigger and better, and more communities are popping up, and so it's exciting to see all these different tournaments happening in different areas, and who's going to get the free spot to represent their nation, their community.
Is it fun to see all those regional communities and see what they are up to and see who is in them?
Oh, absolutely. And then it's Kingsman, I think, is in all of them. So
Nah, Kingsman isn't in the Benelux.
All right. Well, King free stream then over there.
It's maybe not in chat, but definitely he isn't in the Discord server for the Benelux, and he won't be a part for the broadcast for the Benelux qualifier in later August.
I know. I think it's just great to see all the communities getting together and putting on their own show, and scheduling with the other communities, so there's not much overlap between different tournaments and stuff like that. So it's going to be exciting to just have like this full season of CTWC again, which is going to be nuts this year.
Is it what we missed last year? Because In normal times, we started in January or February with the first real life CTWC qualifier, I think somewhere in the West Coast. And then as the year progressed, you have more and more qualifiers, both in the US and internationally. And then it all ends up in Portland with the World Championship. Is that always the goal to have? And this year is finally the year to have that road to CTWC back.
Oh yeah, I mean, last year it was, the world was ending, and we're still kind of in that spiral, I guess. But good to we're building it up. We started earlier this year. We could have started even earlier when we first decided to hold it all online again.
Yeah.
But yeah, so yeah, in 2019 there was set up before the pandemic hit. There was like 6 or 7 already set up in February that year that I set up that were in real life
Yeah.
competitions. So it was kind of all those started to fall off, get canceled one after the other, and then it was just like, oh, this is what's going to happen. We're going online. So I'm hoping that there's some in real life competitions starting again. So I'm excited to see
Yeah.
that continue to grow back. A lot of.
We had South Carolina a couple of days ago.
Mhm.
Ohio will be a big Tetris event with modern Tetris and a classic Tetris. And Blank is hosting a qualifier from its garage.
Right. Yeah. No, it's I love to see it. There's a lot of players over there in New York, so it's good to see that they're all like connecting and putting on competitions. And then they had the other New York meetup that was just a hangout kind of thing. So that was
Yeah.
fun to see and watch, and see people meeting for the first time. I mean, a lot of these players joined, right around the time the pandemic started. So or during it. So that's the first time a
Yeah.
lot of them are meeting. Turning like an internet face or voice or mysterious no one into an actual human being. So.
I messaged the name of Chris Forrest. He does a lot of work for CTWC. What is exactly what he does?
He does. He helps me with a lot of the world organization. Interacting with the other communities, bringing them together. The goal is to get everyone like on the same page. So yeah, he's definitely uh, one of the heroes of CTWC. And last year he stepped up and made a bunch of the spreadsheets and just um, put a little finishing gloss on the final product. So yeah, he's definitely a key member of the global scene and the main CTWC tournament. So.
Yeah, yeah. And the different names, like Adam Cornelius and Trey Harrison, they aren't really involved within the community side, but they still are members of the CTWC organizing team.
Correct. Yeah. Yeah. Adam and Trey and me are the 3 long bars, and yeah, the focus of all that is the main event, and then I'm working hard to build like this global scene, with Chris, with Steve DeLuca, with Chris Bidwell, everyone named
Yeah.
Chris basically in the scene is part of the team.
Maybe you should change your name to Chris,
Yeah,
and Steve should change the name to Chris too.
the Chris Tetris world Chris's. Yeah.
Yeah, there's always a running joke to have the classic Tetris Chris World Championship
No, let's do it. Yeah, everyone named Chris.
as a side tournament in Portland when we come back.
Yeah, maybe we'll do that for the like the kickoff party we did last year.
Oh, that would be amazing.
Just a big Chris bracket. Chris Tang is going to win. Pretty obvious. But yeah, no,
Oh man,
I've been working hard since I think in 2015 was the first qualifying event that was in real life. That was that I set up with my friend Christian Dietering, who runs the Let's Play Gaming Expo in Texas, and that was kind of the start of all these year round kind of thing, year round qualifiers, year round meetups, and we did that. The winner got its airfare paid for and hotel paid for to go to Portland to represent that
yeah,
that expo, which I thought was always cool. It's more of like a kind of like a regular sport where you see different different events leading up to a main event.
yeah,
Where like this
yeah,
person, like skateboarding or whatever. You win this event, and you get invited to the championship event, and then that was your way in. So that might be future way of doing things. I don't know. I mean, as the scene grows, it's growing at an exponential rate.
Wade said last episode that qualifying day in Portland is a tough day.
Oh yeah, it's a tough day. And definitely, since 2019, I mean, that year it was, I think you had to wait 30 minutes plus to try one time, and then go back to the end of the line. So the qualifying period, I think, was like maybe 5 hours long. And if you didn't get one of those rental stations, you were, only going to play, 10 games at the most. So
yeah,
it's definitely a pressure-filled day, and people around you, and you're playing in an environment you're not used to, on a TV you've never seen, so it's just takes you out of your comfort range for sure.
Yeah, for sure. Hey, what was it like to organize the earliest CTWC qualifier in Dallas? Or was it Dallas in Texas?
It was in I think Plano, Texas. That Christian has moved his expo a couple times, and it was a lot of fun. I mean, it was setting up a new thing. I forget the rules, but I think it was just the highest score of the weekend or a day was the winner, and there might have been one final match between the top two people.
Yeah.
I think I forget who won. Was it? Could have been Chad. Chad won, maybe. Chad Muse. He drove down from Illinois and won. It was him versus Jake Stein and Kristen Stein, and I think Joey Parker may have been there.
And how did you try to expand to all those CTWC qualifiers?
Well, it's just a matter of connections, kind of, and people reaching out. So the reason the Christian Dietering Expo, the Let's Play Gaming Expo, existed is because I knew him through the online collecting scene. So I'm a video game collector. I strictly collect NES games, and I have a full set of every game in box with its manual.
Do you also play those games? It's only just collecting, and or is it just like action figures? If you take it out of the box, it loses their value.
yeah. No, it's kind of like that. I mean, you should, those games are selling for crazy amounts now. But yeah, I started collecting in high school, and I just wanted to play every game was the idea. So I would just get the cartridges, right, just to play each game, and then just have them. So I had 400 when I was in high school, and then for a couple of years I quit, and then when I was 23, I was working a full-time job, and I was bored, so I was just floating around the internet and started buying. I was like, oh man, I remember that was a lot of fun. So I was just started to buy games and got hooked into this forum online that just met a lot of other people that were like this. And this was kind of in the days of, it was like a Wild West kind of days when no one knew the rarity of certain games, or prototypes and things like that were coming out of the woodwork of games that didn't exist, like Earthbound or something like that for the NES.
Yeah.
So a lot of these guys went on to start creating their own retro gaming expos, like Christian. Started as a collector and did that, and me and him were friends on the forum, and he was like, hey, let me have one in my at my expo. Do you want to have a qualifier? And it was kind of it was an idea he had, and him and I worked on together. And then the next year there was a couple other ones that wanted to do, and I reached out to different people that I knew that were now running expos or in areas that were around the United States, to try and create some kind of worldwide wrestling federation type feel to it.
Are there already plans for real life CTWC qualifiers for next year, so that we can go back to the West Coast, that we can go back to the desert, that we can go back to Vancouver or Germany or whatever?
Well, right now I just don't know who's not, some of these tournaments aren't going to, or these expos aren't existing anymore. Like the Pittsburgh one, Replay FX, they went under or decided to close shop and aren't doing their expos anymore. But I got hit up by another expo in Pittsburgh already that wants to host the Pittsburgh one. So people are excited to have us there, and we bring a crowd, and it's just getting bigger and bigger each year. So It's just a matter of which expos are still around, or if there's new ones popping up, connecting with them somehow.
Is Tetris getting a main attraction status on those expos that they want them?
I think so. I mean, I think the Tetris tournament as itself is as valuable as, say, getting some guy, random guy from Mortal Kombat to walk around, where they pay those guys to come to the expo. So that's kind of how I, pitch it to these expos, is that they're going to sell more tickets because people are excited to be in that area. I think more so than, meeting, Jax from Mortal Kombat or something like that, or,
I mean, there are probably a lot of cosplayers there who dress as a character from Mortal Kombat or as a character from The Legend of Zelda, and you can take a picture with them for free, and you basically have the same experience.
Right, yeah, totally.
There was I went with my wife to a Comic-Con convention 5 years ago, and it was in Amsterdam. And there was a Dutch Jack Sparrow. They paid him to come to the expo, walk around, and you had to pay additional money to get a professional photograph with him.
Oh, really? And he was just a fake Jack Sparrow?
He was a fake Jack Sparrow, but that was his job. He goes around different conventions, different Comic-Cons, dress as Jack Sparrow to make money that way.
I mean, I guess
it's like all those Elvis impersonators in Vegas.
Yeah, that's absurd. I mean, I don't know. Who would you be if you could go around and be one character?
Oh man, that convention I went as Bob Ross.
There you go.
Man, I can't grow an afro. I think I will go for Link.
Okay.
From The Legend of Zelda, for instance. I'm so big on The Legend of Zelda, and I love that franchise. And it's yeah. My wife gave me for my birthday a commission where I was drawn as new Link with the Link from the Wind Waker.
Oh, cool.
And you, which character would you go
as cosplay? The first name that came in my head is not even a video game character, but I was like, I'll go as Kurt Rambis. Do you know who Kurt Rambis is?
I don't know. No.
He's just an old LA Laker player, who just had this headband and, wore glasses and just was, a sweetheart. And he later went on to coach.
Vince, I find it funny that for someone who stood pretty much at the beginning of Classic Tetris on Twitch, just basically started full-time, not full-time, but you'll be more active on your own personal Twitch channel, but it's only this year that you started that.
I wanted to get more involved with streaming online and competing online. And so I started around, I think it was November or something after last year's CTWC, and just, entering into CTM and playing more Tetris because I really want to get the max out finally. So I got close on New Year's Eve last year. I got a 985K, and it wasn't streaming that one. I was just sitting around, and that's my PB right now. And I was like, all right, well, I'm just gonna, every time I want to play Tetris, I'm going to stream now because I want it recorded when it does happen.
Yeah.
So I've been doing that, and it's been a lot of fun because I like it. People come in, talk to me. All the young players stop in, say hi, and it's created a little community where I have a lot of close friends that now come or have made close friends that are in this Twitch community together, and it's a ton of fun. We all hang out, and then I go to their channels, say hi, and I like watching everyone else play as well. So interacting with the community and getting to know people is it's exciting to me. And
I think it's a key part to get involved in the community.
No, I've been enjoying I'm in CTM, I'm in CTL now. I play on the King's Friendlies channel here and there. I want to beat D'Lo real bad. He's one of my arch nemesis, but it's good for me because I always wanted to play in the tournaments, and I would, starting in 2012, I would qualify but I never felt like I should win a match, right? So now I
Yeah.
kind of I want to win. I can win. I wouldn't feel bad, if I did win a match. So like that.
Why was it that you would feel bad if you would win a match back in the day?
Um, just people would travel to go to CTWC, and I was I was organizing it, and I just didn't feel right to say like I didn't think I was ever going to beat or win the whole tournament, but maybe I'd win a round or something like that. So I just
Yeah.
like it was just people I was playing against. I think like I played Ben Mullen in 2013, and I was like, I can't beat Ben Mullen. I like watching him play. I'm a fan of his. I want to see him do
Yeah.
well. Uh, So my play style was try as hard as I could in the first game, and if I won that game, then I would, try and probably tank the rest of it. But yeah, Ben won the first game, and he won the second game. And that was fair, and I tried, and playing in a tournament is a lot different than playing at home. The one year I did want to win was I played Chad Muse. I think it was 15. And I beat him the first game, and I almost beat him the second game. He had like some crazy survival game once he got to
Yeah.
transition, and he needed certain pieces to kind of get out of it. And he got him, and he beat me, and then I lost the decider. But I was okay beating him because he won one of the qualifiers and got a free trip. So I was like, all right, I won't feel bad if I beat him.
And I think another match. I don't know if you won, but it was in Denmark, in Copenhagen, when you faced off against Adam Cornelius.
Oh yeah, that was ridiculous. It was so I fly over to me and Adam and Terry all went to the first, or I think it was the second CTEC, but it was
Yeah.
the first time that they were building up to be a bigger show, and we're Christopher Daniels, one of those amazing guys that has the heart and the soul to and the passion to put on these tournaments. So
Yeah.
it's pretty funny going all the way over there and then having to play Adam in Denmark. It's like we had to fly all the way over to Denmark to play a match, which we hadn't played before. But I think that was a top 4 thing. It was the top 8 made it into the bracket, and I think I had a round before I played Adam that I beat somebody. I forget who it was. But
But
that
it was also on a version that you pretty much never played.
Right, I never had played PAL before. I might have had the ROM or something like that, so I think I did practice a little bit before I went, and it's kind of like 18, and then you die at 19 pretty much, unless you're Jani or a hyper tapper.
Yeah.
But so I was like, I actually have a chance here because that back then my 19 was terrible, so I was just like, this is perfect for me because no one can outlast me on 19. And
It's
I
true.
actually have a chance to put up a 500-600, which was my goal. I think
Well, pretty much nowadays, the top players on Paul can play on 19.
right, true, yeah. So yeah, that my window for winning a PAL tournament is over.
It depends which tier. You can win the classic Tetris Ball tier 2 and the tier 3s.
Right. I think you kind of have an advantage as an NTSC player playing PAL.
Why?
Well, the pieces move faster in PAL, so if you stack the same way as you would in NTSC, and you don't have the leeway to go higher. Like you can go a little higher in PAL, and the pieces still move left to right. So a lot of those quick taps that you might rely on in NTSC when you play
Yeah.
high, you'll just get with the regular DAS. So if you just play your NTSC style, I think you'll have an advantage in PAL because you can play a little higher. I could be totally wrong. It falls faster too. So I might be totally wrong. So.
You joined CTL this season. How do you experience that?
I'm loving it. I mean, it's nice to be able to play people in your same at your same level. Uh,
Yeah.
I I've always had like tournament nerves. You play differently when you're playing in a match rather than playing at home. You play safer, or you forget how to play at moments.
Yeah.
So I've been really enjoying getting better at match play, and more consistent at just my game in general. I mean, I've been playing more than I've ever played, really, like weekly.
Yeah, was that one of the reasons why you wanted to join CTL to get those matches under your belt?
That and yeah, just be a part of the different communities that are going around.
You're the one who beat Hazuli.
I
The only
did,
one who beat
I
Hazuli.
did. Yeah,
Yeah.
we swapped or we traded matches. Yeah, Huzuli's good, and yeah, he's in first place now. And
Yeah, pretty much has a 99% chance of winning the division.
yeah, I got my 2 final matches. I'm playing Grand Designs, which I know him. He's been a big, long time Facebook commentator on the Facebook page and that, and just a pillar of the community. So I'm excited
Yeah.
to play him, and I'm excited I have to play Skip Logic, who he's been around. And I guess he's played every CTL season besides one, and I chat with him, on Twitch here and there. So I'm excited to play a friend.
Skip as the I think Skip Logic is the one who pretty much, if he plays, he ends up in a playoff match.
That's what he told me. He's like, I've always been in
Yeah.
every playoff.
Yeah, and there was a chance that that streak died last year, but somehow Skip got into a playoff match.
He's got his work cut out for him. I think he's in at the bottom right now or near the bottom. And
Yeah, it's last.
I guess
Uh,
I'll let him win so that he can make the playoff.
if you play in CTL, you get restreamed by a lot of different restreamers. Do you have a favorite type of restreamer, or does it really not matter?
It's fun to have the random restreamer, that I don't know. Because when I first started doing it, I had no idea, how to do all this or get the restreamer, or if people had preferred ones. And a lot of time the other people would figure it out. And then, Grant, I was talking with Grand Designs, and he was doing my restreams for some of my CTM matches. And then my friend Burrito Dad, who I met through streaming now, he's starting to do, he started this last month doing restreams for CTM and CTL. So
Yeah,
I've been the last bunch of matches I've been using Burrito Dad. He's been my hero. Where I just hit him up, on Discord. It's easy rather than like post in the restreaming area and tag all the restreamers and cross your fingers to see if someone picks you. It's nice to just have someone that's ready to go and knows what they're doing, and which they all do. So, but yeah, Arbaro too. He's been restreaming me a couple times now. But yeah, I like anyone. I like to see the different commentator styles.
aren't you secretly scouting people to see who can potentially give commentary to CTWC matches?
Oh yeah, there's a CTWC secret society that I'm slowly inviting members to join. Yeah, sure. I mean, it's if not in CTWC, I mean, there's all these different qualifying events that happen. So if people in that area, are if Burrito Dad lives in Montana, if there's a Montana qualifier, I would assume he would be there and want to help out. So
One of the CTWC commentators from pretty much day one is oh man, I forgot his name. That's so embarrassing. Chris Tang. There we go.
yeah, Chris Tang, yeah.
How did you get Chris Tang to give commentary on classic Tetris?
It was all through Robin. Robin was in the NWC. Chris Tang was in the NWC. So Chris Tang was part of the Ecstasy of Order, and commentator on the first CTWC. He kind of did like the color, whereas I was friends with Pat the NES Punk back then, and he was like the main commentator running around on stage,
Yeah,
and that was the duo that year.
for the first year.
For the first year, yeah. Chris Tang just has the Tetris knowledge, and over the years he's gotten better and better each time, and he's the most he's the highest pedigree for CTWC commentator. Maybe not anymore. I mean, Vandy and King are daily streaming matches and commentating. So, but Chris Tang, he's the hero. He's a boom, Tetris for Chris
Boom.
Tang.
Yeah. It wouldn't be a CTWC if Chris Tang wasn't announcing of giving commentary to the matches.
I agree. I agree. He's the best.
And then you decided to pair him up with James Cheng. How did James Cheng get involved into
Uh,
classic Tetris?
James Chen was involved because I believe it was Trey reached out to James Chen, and we were looking for somebody to do a match that we did on the Games Done Quick channel, and just we put a call out to get more commentators, and then some people submitted uh, some call or some fake commentating to
Yeah.
see if they would whatever, an audition type thing, and we took James Chen. Just I forget how Trey contacted him. That would be Trey brought him in, and he's been here since. So.
But he's coming from the fighting world. How did he? How did he transition it to the Tetris world?
He's a Tetris player. That's the thing. He's always he says he loves Tetris. So he loves fighting games and he loves Tetris. So
The dynamic between them, it's pretty unique. James is more like play by play. Chris is more like a color commentator.
right, yeah. Chris Tang has the Tetris knowledge, whereas James has the funny little quips, and also Chris Tang, a video game music will be playing, a video game song will be playing, and I'll just be like, this is from Castlevania, blah blah blah, and it's just he just knows everything about video game history and about the history of the CTWC. So he has that recall power that you can give commentators all this data and info and they can sift through it and remember things. And
Wow,
but
it's like
he just has
a
it. He doesn't.
walking.
Yeah. And the same with Arda's really good. Arda somehow he did his research and he's a professional. So
How did you find out that Chris had a funny controller to play Tetris with?
well, I told him last year that he was going to be playing Steve DeLuca in that match, and Steve was going to be playing with his shredder,
Yeah.
and then Chris was immediately like, "Oh, I have this like little kid's controller. I'm gonna mod it and I'm gonna do it." And he like did it in a couple days. I mean, that's what Chris does. He just mods things, and he knows how to do that. Like he made a handheld NES system that's it uses a top loader, but it's portable, where it has like a screen attached to it, and you can plug everything in.
Oh wow.
So, and he's I think he makes them and sells them to a couple people, but they're expensive. I mean, those top loaders are what, $200 now or whatever they are.
I can imagine. Yeah. Do you have one of those?
I did have one. I used to collect and resell on Nintendo games, so I had a bunch throughout the years. But I have one that I gave my brother, and he still has it. So, but
Oh wow.
I like the traditional toaster. I don't need the upgraded top loader without AV. They do the AV mods on those, but they're all
Oh,
RF.
oh yeah. What is in your opinion the best CTWC?
The best one, I mean, 18 and 19, when it was really coming together. 18 is the real switch between the growth of the tournament. That one really spawned what is currently happening with Joseph winning. So I might go 18.
I heard that some people said that 18 was the best tournament, both playing wise, but also production wise.
18 was good. And then, we switched over to the room in 19, which was good for production because then, we don't have, the announcements going on and all that. And, there's no music playing that's copyright stuff. So it makes more sense to do it that way. But in the expo, there is definitely like an 18. It was like in the main floor of the expo. So there's definitely a different vibe where the crowd is allowed to get bigger because there's, an expansive amount and you could see from far away what's going on and hear what's going on.
Yeah.
So there's definitely, I don't know what's going to happen in 2022 when it's in person again. There's going to be tons of people.
It will be organized chaos.
Well, I mean, it's always chaos, but you make it work and just stay calm.
Do you already have talks with the Portland Retro Gaming Expo about 2022?
I haven't talked to them because I'm worried about this year currently, but if we have to definitely find out if they're even going to have an expo. I mean, it's been the home of CTWC, for since 2012, and it'd be cool to keep it. But we might, we were talking in 2020 about having it in a bigger space there in their ballroom, as they called it, which was double or triple what we had in 19. So there was plans to accommodate the bigger crowds.
Yeah, because I saw in Scout's video, Game Scout's video, CTWC 2019 Part 2, that the waiting line was getting out of hand.
It was getting out of hand, and people just want to participate. So
Is there a realistic chance that you can go to the ballroom?
yeah, I mean, we were talking about it, and it was definitely a possibility. But then everything shut down, so the conversation just went with it.
What is your current role within CTWC?
I mean, I've been the organizer since the beginning. I do the majority, if not all, the graphics for everything. I do all of the sponsorship research or you know sponsorship stuff, like the reaching out to new sponsors, talking to old sponsors, maintaining the relationship with them to make it happen. I interact with the community, and get involved, and just talk to people, hear what they have to say. And like last year, there was a debate about the bracket, like how the double elimination was going to work. And there was Chris Bidwell talking to me, and Moodus was talking to me, and ended up Moodus was the champ. So we went with that way, which is the correct way. So
Yeah.
listening to the community, I would say. Yeah, just organizing the event. Usually the qualifying situation and on the day of the tournament falls in my lap. With then there's like Steve DeLuca and Chris Bidwell and Christina Hogg, who like help out, and Hillary, and they all help out with the qualifying, which is a major part of the tournament. That's like the chaos part of it. Once everyone's the 64 or 48, whatever, get decided, it is a little more calm, I think. There's not people waiting around stressing out. Everyone's like, oh, I'm in or I'm out, I'm gonna have fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's also just like kind of so like in 16, I think it was, or no, it was 18. So in 18, I realized that there was a lot more players coming, and I would feel bad if, say, a player that came that was really good, that put up a good score, couldn't make it. So expanding the bracket from 32 to 40 was something that I pushed for, and then I wanted more of, obviously, but and then we were able to do 48 in 2019, which was good, and have more best 3 out of 5 matches, which is Adam's more on like the side of the 3 of 5 matches. I'm more on the side of people are traveling, and more people should be able to play a match at least. So it's a weird balance between. So in 19, it was we both won. So there was 3 out of 5 from the top 8 on, and 48 players. So come next year, we go to 64 now. It's gonna be tight to pull that off. More stations, maybe more things going on at the same time. Which
If CTWC returns to real life, it will stay at 64?
that would be the goal. 48 was tight in 2019. So
Yeah.
and now game matches last longer than they used to. Players are maxing out rather than
Topping out.
losing at 600 at whatever. So it'll be interesting to see where it goes.
Is qualifying day a essential part of the experience of CTWC, or is it something that could be skipped and have only automatic entries and see them based on their score at their regional qualifier?
Yeah, that's something I've thought about, is maybe these regional events, your scores count towards the qualifying, right? Or if you have to win, say you have to win a tournament in order to even be invited to CTWC. I don't really like that. To me, there's parts of it I like. Maybe it would cut down on lines or something for a real life qualifier. But I do like the idea of people coming and qualifying, and then you get to meet the other players in line. Like I've stood in line and played, a game or two when I'm not busy at the CTWC. I'll like wait in line and play a game, and it's fun to just talk with the people in line with you. So when you have the 10-minute conversation with someone from a different area of the world, you become friends with them, and it's community that is created that way. Where it's like a lot of these people come, or have always come, to just hang out with each other. It's like they knew Jonas was going to win or whatever, but it was just, we'll come hang out, and that's part of the joy of it. It's like, the vacation of the year for, certain people. I don't know. But it's something excited that they go see. Oh, I'm going to go see my Tetris friends for this weekend, and we're just going to hang out and have a good time. And I'm going to come in 18th place.
Total Radness! Yo, this is Steve DeLuca of Total Radness, home of the Tetris World Order. Bringing order to a chaotic world. Ready to get rolling on the right side? Dominate the D-pad with a goofy foot controller. Visit TotalRadNES.com to score a controller modded by the inventor, me. We've also got TWO gear, CTWC approved hardware, and a ton of additional retrospective madness. Tune in to twitch.tv/Total Radness to watch Quaid and I take the BLV to 11. Also, don't miss the other homies at Aaron Jazamoki for the Boom Tetris house parties with the Kitchen Dwellers. And at Classic Vomps for those classic Tetris snugs. Be the best and keep it TWO for life.
We will return to the conversation with Vince in a minute. But first, if you like the Peace Dependency podcast, help us grow. Please share the podcast with every classic Tetris fan. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Peace Dependency. You can like our Facebook page, Peace Dependency Podcast. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. We will have all the podcasts available at full length. Also, you can listen to the Peace Dependency Podcast on Spotify, iTunes, Google Podcasts, or your favorite podcast app. Join the Tetris Friendlies Discord server. Besides the fact that it's the place to discuss anything PDP, you can also participate in some lovely friendlies or put your ELO on the line in the various ELO battles. If you have a suggestion we need to have on the next Peace Dependency podcast, let us know through our socials, the Discord channel, or send us an email to peacedependencypodcast@gmail.com. Now, let's go back to the conversation with Vince, where we will be talking about the history of CTWC. I want to go down memory lane with CTWC, and I want to start with the very first CTWC that was in 2010. Is it right that it was supposed to be a one-off event?
Yeah, so that was with the film
Ectasy of Order.
Yeah, before that I was, talking with Robin. Me and Robin were maybe going to make a movie about recapping or doing like a 20th anniversary of the NWC, which would end in like a Nintendo World Championships, re-meet of all the players hanging out and having another go at it, and Robin winning so that he could take first place away from Thor or whatever. That was kind of the idea, which never really happened. We didn't really start doing it, but we talked about it. And then Robin had met Adam, and then Robin introduced me to Adam, and I was in Los Angeles where the tournament took place.
Yeah,
and me and Adam had a call, and it was my role to then be producer of the film, director of the first CTWC, and it was to keep the things separate, right? So the film, I was producer of the film. I hired my friend Dan Billups. He did the director of photography, cinematography for that, and my friend Daniel Rodriguez did the sound for that. And so my role was to just make the tournament awesome, make it incredible, right? And the original idea was it was just going to be Harry versus Jonas. It was just going to be a match, right? And then the film kind of evolved where it was to include, other players like Ben Mullen, Jesse Kelker, and it was just going to be a match between the people in the film, right?
yeah.
But I was, at this time I was in talks with the Tetris company. This is when I started my relationship with them, and they became a sponsor of the tournament that first year. So I was putting on the tournament, going around collecting TVs for weeks, NES systems, and then with the people that I knew in the collecting community, I was able to get a bunch of Nintendos and Tetris cartridges, and I was I knew the people that work at Hyperkin, so they sponsored the first year with a bunch of AC adapters and things like that. And then within talks with the Tetris company, I was like, well, we have to invite the world, right? We have to, allow anyone that's really good at Tetris to come and play. And so that became the dawn of like why there's a qualifier that exists. So and then Adam was like, oh, we can't do that because then what if all the players from the movie would suck and nothing would happen. So I was like, all right, well, give me some reasons why certain people can make it to the finals. And he came up with world record holders and champions. So that was the 5 people that made it, allowing for 3 extra spots for the qualifying. Which in that day it was a 1-day event, so qualifying was a couple hours long. You couldn't have people play whole games, which I wish would have happened. It wasn't, but it was fair enough where you just play B type. And
that's the sole reason why the B type was a qualifier.
Yeah, just based on it being a time constraint to I had no idea how many people would come. So there was if there was a long line like there was in 2019, it would have been people complaining and things like that. But without the qualifying that year, players like Quaid came that year. Quaid was there, and that's why we have the Buko chant now, because they just picked. I'm sure you heard about it, and I haven't listened to the last episode yet, but
they talked about it.
Yeah.
Why was there no intention of potentially doing it every year? The first time you tried to organize it.
I didn't even think to, be like, all right, I'm going to do this every year for the rest of my life, which being 12 years now, it's crazy that it's been happening every year. But Ben Mullen hit me up and he was like, is this happening again? And the Tetris company hit me up and they're like, is this happening again? Are we doing it again? And I was like, we can do it. I can do it, And so I talked with the Tetris company, and this in 2011, it was just solely me that put the show on. And I had my friend Elizabeth Logan. She came on, and I knew her through. I used to work with like events, so I used to put I worked at several places that put on events for like nonprofit companies. So I knew all that went into like putting your own event on, and a lot of the teams were like small teams because they don't have a lot of money. So you wear a lot of hats in those. So I'm like the graphic designer, but I'm also like the stage manager at this concert, or whatever.
Was the second time, was that easier to organize than the first time?
Absolutely not. That was probably the hardest year. I was on the phone with the Tetris company every year. There was I scouted around to make it, the goal was to make it bigger and better than the year before. Like that's the goal every year. But so I went to like UCLA campus. I went to the USC campus, which ended up having it. There was a theater, the Music Box Theater, which is now like the Ford Theater in Hollywood, which I liked that one because it was like a walkable street, Hollywood Boulevard, where the stars are and all that stuff. So that would have been cool. But the Tetris company liked this USC. I liked USC too. The Bovard Auditorium. It's beautiful. It's probably the prettiest, definitely the prettiest looking tournament there's been. And there was actually so there was not just the NES tournament. There was the Tetris PS3 version. I think it was the Tetris Ultimate, maybe. Yeah. And then there was the board game Tetris Link had a championship as well that year. It was just a lot of work to put that on, make your own event. I think it was $9,000 to rent that place for the day.
Is that also the reason why a year later in 2012 the tournament moved from LA to Portland?
Well, that in 2011 I ended up losing like personal money of mine to put the tournament on. I thought it was going to be a bigger event than it was, and it was on a college campus. I thought that was cool. It turned out that USC is a closed campus or open. I don't know whatever you say, but there's not student activity on the weekend. They all live off the campus, right?
Oh, yeah.
So there was no one walking around at their campus on Sunday. So I thought there was going to be some more foot traffic than there was. But I thought it was a big success. But it was the first year where I was able to do matches rather than some crazy formula like in 2010. Where it was, the 8 people playing at one time and lines were like a thing, So
Yeah, I read it somewhere, and it was very very confusing.
Yeah, that was
to,
all.
to understand the rules of the first CTWC.
I still don't understand them, but they're it was it was just a way to make it for it was just being made to make a movie. That was the goal that year. So,
Comes to my mind now.
Mhm.
If you make a event, especially for a movie,
Mhm.
do you want certain outcomes of that event, or just let it roll and see what happens?
I mean, I guess you could ask for, say, drama of some kind. So there was drama with the qualifying, with spoiler alert, but Dana Wilcox sneaking in there. That was exciting, and then yeah, just to see what happens. I think I didn't have a preference on who won, but it was, I guess you would want to see somebody from the movie won. Otherwise, you would have to like go retrace your steps and go get footage of that person's life in their hometown, which the film already had. Ben Mullen's hometown. Jesse Kelker's house. I mean, stuff like that. So I think you are rooting as a documentarian to have someone in your film won. Say if Buko won, it would have been a disaster. Just
Yeah.
no, it would have been fine. But
If someone not from the movie would have won, were you and Adam, were you willing to go back those steps and include them in the movie?
oh, that definitely probably would have happened for sure. And then you'd have to
Oh,
like
cool.
play pretend. So there's a little ethical question of if that's good or not. But that happens in documentary films all the time. So not in this one.
How did the talk start that you and CTWC went to the Portland Retro Gaming Expos?
It was a thing where I was kind of overdoing it because I lost money. I was like, I don't want to lose money again. That's not very fun to do, but that's with events, it's typical that you like lose money the first 2 years and then break even the third or something like that is like what happens when you create something new. So
Yeah.
moving to Portland, that was, Adam and Robin were, they live in Portland. So does Chuck Van Pelt, who's one of the main organizers of the Portland Retro Gaming Expo. And I think that Chuck and Adam were playing poker, or Chuck, Adam, and Robin were playing poker. And Chuck was like, well, why don't you do it? Why don't you have it at the Portland Retro Gaming Expo? And, which is great because it's a multi-day thing. At that time, it was 2 days. So we could actually change from the B-type qualifier, which still existed in 11, to you could play whole games. And this was very exciting to me. And then you could expand the bracket to, say, 32 people at that time, which was great. And it just made sense. And then you have built-in fans rather than like what happened in 2011, where you're expecting people to go out of their way to go watch people play Tetris.
Yeah.
Which in 2011, I also thought that it would be a big success because the film had just come out, and maybe there'd be more people would be like, I want to do that. So and then
Was 2011 a disappointing year in that terms that it did work out the way it worked out?
no, I mean, it was successful in the fact that it kept the tournament alive, and it was a fun tournament. But yeah,
Yeah.
it was just, and people came, and everyone, the whole cast came again, and so it was good to see the community stick together. So if the community wasn't sticking together, it wouldn't be worth it to continue rolling out Tetris events that no one's going to. So it's good to see. That's one of the main reasons why it's stuck together, is because people continue to come every year and are excited about it.
Do you consider 2012 to be the start of the modern era of CTWC?
Oh, for sure. I mean, it makes sense to have it in an expo. There's the fans and the other retro gaming fans that might try their hand at it, that wouldn't go out of their way to go to a standalone Tetris event. Which maybe now we could do a standalone Tetris event, and maybe that's the preferred way to do it from now on. But I still like it at the expo. It's there's fans that come every year to CTWC in real life. Like there's this father and son that come every year just to watch. Then they've been coming, so it's good to see them year after year. And it's like, oh, there's these diehard fans. Yeah.
But does the expo want to let you go?
No, the expo, loves us. We have a good relationship with the expo. So as long as the expo is going, well, hopefully be there and have enough space and time, and not, the expo's grown with us as well. So now it moved from like a 2-day to a 3-day expo. So we could take advantage of the Friday time for qualifying, but it or something. Usually it's reserved for just like the fun side events or like whoever's shown up. It's kind of hard to expect people to show up on a Friday and be qualified, and people have jobs. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So that's kind of just been like the who's around, who wants to play, and some weird version of Tetris or Dr. Mario or whatever.
We're concerned that by going to Portland, and Portland isn't in central US, it's upper west near the Canadian border. We're concerned that people might not going because it's too far away or it's too expensive to fly from said New York or Florida all the way to Oregon.
Sure, centrally located would have been cool, but I think Portland's like a perfect fit because it's a quirky town. This tournament is kind of quirky, and it's just a fun town to explore. So it's good that it's like in a major city that has things to do for other people. So I like it in Portland. I mean, say it was in St. Louis or Chicago or something like that, it would be more centrally located, I suppose.
If you go to St. Louis or Chicago, do you think there would be a different vibe during the tournament?
I think it would be this similar vibe, but Portland's really the home of it for now, and maybe in a couple of years or this or next year we'll have some kind of bigger event where it's just the standalone again, like maybe Madison Square Garden or something. Why not? Just
Oh man, the Hammerstein Ballroom.
yeah, that'd be cool.
I mean, the Madison Square Garden is great, but I'm like a lot of people, I think, in the Tetris community. I love wrestling. I love pro wrestling, and if you feel the vibe in the Hammerstein Ballroom, look at ECW. Look at what was it? The ECW reunion. It's so compact and getting 6,000 people close to each other.
That sounds awesome. I love the what people are doing to kind of make it more like wrestling matches, in Tetris, where for a while there, like Quaid and D'Lo were like exchanging video taunts and Kingsman, like it's just that's fun and kind of creating characters. I mean, that's what Quaid's been doing the whole time, right? Is he's created this persona of Quaid or Hauser or whatever, Zizix,
Yeah,
he's
Zizix.
not take it too seriously, but hype up the crowd and make it more of a sporting event rather than some quiet room where no one's saying anything or wants to disturb somebody playing. I mean, that's not what it is to me. It should be people yelling and screaming and getting excited about what's going on. Yeah.
How did that 2015 mini doc about Quaid came about?
It was an idea. It was just, that's something that we wanted to do for every player, right? So it was just a way to hype the tournament and, see a player. And we had talked about who we were going to pick to do it. And Sean being a good player and kind of, at that time, I was friends with Sean and Ryan, Richie, and, we would talk to them, but they've kind of felt like they were outside the community at that time. So it was kind of a way of like showing them that they're part of the community as well as, everyone else.
Yeah.
And Sean's a good player. And luckily, for the filming, he got into second place that year, which was cool to see and him to talk about. But just kind of, recognizing that he's a good player and, it's going to be an exciting film and little short day in the life of Sean going to the Tetris tournament.
But we haven't seen anything like that since. We haven't saw a player mini documentary in 2016 or something like that. Is it something that you think will return, or was that a one-off?
It was something that was going to be a more a yearly thing. A lot of time the budget's come up and we paid Barton to do that, which was a Portland guy, and it was kind of out of the budget of the film or budget of the tournament. So having the budget to do that is part of it, to do the extra stuff,
Yeah.
Which we're getting to the point where we're starting to have extra budget money and we're pushing it in different ways to build the community, which I don't know if making a little short film is the way to build the community. I think, making more tournaments or having better events would probably be a smarter, business decision, at this point.
Yeah.
I mean, last year you saw with the top 8, we did, little snippets on all top 8 players, right? So it kind of still exists in a way, but that was a quick way to, get the players to show themselves and little personality, which I think is what makes it for fans to come. That's a big key thing, is creating these personas and people rooting for players rather than just sitting them watching play Tetris. They're hearing who they are, what they do, stuff like that. So definitely, like, you see that in wrestling. That's why wrestling's cool, right? If you just watch the guy fight and didn't hear him talk or trash talk, it wouldn't be as fun. So getting to know the players, and there's so many new players now, so it's just who's going to rise to the top, who what personalities are people going to like or gravitate towards.
I mean, you never know who's going to rise to the top.
True.
I think a year ago, we never heard of Alex Tag, and now he's in the top 10 elo, just like his brother. Won challenges 1 week, won the Masters event the week after.
True. Yeah. I mean, there's tons of consistent players coming out and just winning, here and there. But the players at the top now are, pretty equally matched. So it's going to be exciting to see, who gets the right RNG or who puts a piece in the right spot to match what RNG is going to give them later,
Yeah. What did you need to bring yourself when you go to the Portland Retro Gaming Expo, and what's already there production-wise, hardware-wise, software-wise?
Most of the stuff's there now. All the Nintendos, all the TVs.
Is it all owned by CTWC?
The TVs are they're stored by PRGE, the Portland Retro Gaming Expo. We've given them a bunch of TVs, but they've provided us with a lot of TVs. So they just have a bunch that they give us or let us lend us for the weekend. All the Nintendos, are owned by us. So throughout the years, I've gotten really good deals on all the Nintendos, just through that collecting community I was talking about before. So all the Tetris carts are up there. All the plugs, everything like that. We do need to rent, like the filament, like lights and things like that, and audio equipment, things like that are at the expo, part of the expo stuff. That's all rented or, and then, Trey has his own computer that he brings, obviously.
Who will look after those NESs and those cartridges to make sure that they are suitable for a world championship?
Well, they're all in storage, so barring there's not like some fire at the storage facility, they're not touched throughout the year. But like last year or in 2019 when it was going on, the crowd was large and and the line was long, so I was going around or sending other people around with my credit card to go continue to buy all the NES systems that they could find, all the Tetris cartridges that they could find. They usually just continue to stock up, and just we were creating new, add another station here, add another station there while qualifying was happening. Grab another TV, plug it all in, gooch all that stuff around. So it was kind of a hectic day, and then there was some of the NESs didn't work. The pins, connectors, or whatever crapped out, or they're blinking too much, or so. I went to a couple of the vendor booths there, guys that I knew, and I was like, hey, can you fix these? Can you like swap it out? So people were repairing them at the tournament while it was happening. So.
Really?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Is that stressful when a NES goes down or when a CRT goes down?
Oh, totally. I mean, you gotta like stop that whole area. 2 or 3 people are around that area. You gotta wait for a couple people to end their games so that you can unplug the systems, because you don't want to accidentally unplug the wrong one. But you got guys like Steve DeLuca who are just heroes. They're like, like Steve has a ton of like practice setting up for bands and things like that, so he just knows how to like go in there and do it real quick and not make it look messy. So Oh, wait, one last thing about 13. 13 was the first year that Jani came, and it was the first year that then made it a world championship. Just calling it world championship, and then it finally became true. A bunch of Americans versus a Finnish guy.
He's been a familiar face at CTWC ever since 2013.
Absolutely. I mean, Jani's great.
It's a great character the way he plays Tetris.
Oh, he's just so active and yelling. I was there for that, which is probably my favorite Tetris related video, is that Super Saiyan Jani video where
Yes.
at CTEC, where he's just screaming and yelling, and then he like throws the controller, and I love it.
Then we move on to 2014. It's a year that 2 documentaries were shot. One was a long one, the one from Chris Higgins, the best of 5.
Mhm.
And the other one was a BuzzFeed video. They were following Eli Markstrom, which also went to top 4. So I think if you get followed for a documentary, you get automatic top 4 at CTWC.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, I don't know. I guess people should start asking to be followed by camera crews.
Exactly. Chris Higgins filmed a lot during CTWC 2014 for his up and coming documentary.
Mhm.
How much help did he get from the CTWC crew?
I mean, I gave him free access to whatever. Chris Higgins is a friend, one of the head judges of CTWC over the years. He hired my friend Dan Billups again, who did the Dan was there. He hired my friend Lewis Holland, who shot the film. So it was like the idea was to have it like be a whole new creative crew, rather than like have me or Adam or Dan deeply involved again. So we'd like just make a repeat of the first movie. So just kind of get a whole new flavor. So it's just me and Adam are on there as like producers of that event of the film. And we were going to be more involved. Adam did some editing, I think, and I was going to do some graphics, but Chris has just got it all on his own now. So I'm not really involved, other than like giving him footage that I had footage from the 2011 event that I sent him that is going to be incorporated that hasn't been seen before.
Yeah, I was going to ask about that. Because since CTWC 2015, which we will get to, all matches have pretty much been recorded or uploaded to YouTube, but there is rarely seen any footage from 2010 to 2014. Is there still footage of those events, or is it gone?
I mean, 2010, there's tons of footage just because of the documentary being filmed. 2011, I had 2 cameramen that were working. My friend Dan was on stage with the camera, and then I had another friend of mine, Josh, who was going around and interviewing. Like Hank Rogers was there, and a lot of the Tetris companies employees were there, and it was just, like he was going around interviewing people. That footage may be lost. That guy's footage, it was on a hard drive that got corrupted, so it might be able to be saved, but it's still kind of who knows. But yeah, it was.
Yeah.
The cool thing is, since 2010, I had it streamed in 2010. In 2011, it was streamed. Every year has been streamed live, and this is like before the days of Twitch, or it's like the early days of Justin TV or something like that. I think in 2010 and 11 it was just streamed to like a random website or something. So, but it was streamed live, and it was always like kind of part of the tournament, but was never really like a priority to have it crystal clear. There wasn't things like OBS to help you out. It was all like figure it out on your own, homie.
Yeah.
So it was. Chris Reeves came in 2012. There was this guy Susie, who's like an old member of Hard Drop, that was like, you need Chris Reeves to help you out, and he would just show up like a day before the tournament with his computer and try and throw something together, which was unfair to him. He was always sweating, and he needed this cable or that cable, so there was all these different runs to say the electronics store to get stuff, and then it wouldn't work, and there was just this panic between all of this stuff. So yeah, 2012. Oh, another fun story about 2012 is that Terry Purcell, it was the first year that Terry came around.
Yeah.
And he tried to qualify because he thought he was world's best Tetris player and everything, but he was qualifying on 19. So this is kind of like try to think of like there was no real rules or ideas online of how to play Tetris like there are now. Like you'd be a fool to qualify on 19, right? He didn't know that. He was like, I'm just going to play the highest level, right? And so he actually did qualify like 31st or something that year, and he didn't even show up to the tournament because he was like, I'm not good enough, you know. But then he learned later. I think that's why he didn't show up. But he learned later that he did it wrong, and so it's okay for me to make fun of Terry. He deserves it, you know.
Now everyone will know.
I've exposed him.
You've exposed him, yes. But will we ever going to see the matches from 2012 or 2013 on YouTube?
They're currently on YouTube. I mean, other fans have had them, like the Vulich, David Vulich, I think, put up the 2012 stuff. You can see it all. It's all around on YouTube. And there was in 2012, there was a different Chaos or something. Chaos Group was the name of it. That
yeah,
they have it on, I think, their YouTube channel. You know, Girl Gamer has some footage on their channel from 10 and 11. Who they were the ones who provided the live stream that year. 2013, I think that's the one that David Vulich has up. 2014, you know, Chris Higgins obviously has a master copy, and that's all being redone in, you know, the Trey software, I believe, or at least the good matches are for the film. So
yeah,
you can find it. They're all exist online. It just maybe not the whole game exists, or there might be a couple of final scores missing. But I think a couple of years back, I went through and made a spreadsheet with the help of some others. Like Ben Mullen has had a spreadsheet for years, you know, following the qualifying and the scores. You know, you just see this super spike in them. So the data's out there. I think it's all been accounted for. But videos of the full matches, maybe not so much.
And in 2014, for the tournament itself, was it a good thing that someone other than Jonas won the tournament?
I think that was the year Jonas was like not gonna come because he just married Heather, or they were about to be married. So he was thinking of not coming, and I kind of, you know, asked him to go, and then, you know, Heather inspired him to go. I was like, no, let's do it, you know, whatever. But I think he just didn't have a lot of practice that year, and he didn't. It was good to see Harry win. I'm glad Harry won because I know he was sad after every year of losing to Jonas, and you know, I know he was beating himself up after 2013 when he, you know, got reverse swept. You know, so
yeah,
we were like at the after party that year, and Jonas was like on his way, and Harry was like, I gotta go, I can't be here. You know, but I think it was good to have another champion. Yeah, Harry deserved it for sure. That was the first year I think Jeff Moore showed up. So
is it a good thing or a bad thing that someone dominated the scene and won 7 out of the first 8 championships?
I think it's great. I mean, you couldn't ask for, you know, a better champion than Jonas. It's the legacy of, you know, a sport. You know, like Tom Brady just won his 6th Super Bowl. You know, Michael Jordan has 6 rings. You know, Jonas has 7 championships. So he's the GOAT of all sports, you know.
Yeah.
So he inspired, you know, with his videos and being a streamer. You know, him and Harry and, you know, Corian, all of them were, you know, all 3 of those guys were streaming. That's what inspired Joseph. And, you know, Jonas put up those tutorial videos that, you know, give everyone the keys to the car right out the gate, you know. So you have this hero, this legend that, you know, is giving you the advice. You know, it's like, if like Michael Jordan, you know, showed you exactly all his moves, like he just like secretly gave some of them to like Kobe Bryant, right? He's like, this is how you do the fadeaway. But Jonas is like, here's all my tricks. Come at me. Yeah.
Did he wanted that competition?
I think for a while he wasn't challenged, you know. I mean, there was a couple people like Harry and Sean and stuff that, you know, came strong at him, but he never really had to like push. And I think he says this, that he you know, he never had to be pushed to play a different style when, you know, like Joseph came and, you know, took him out in 2018. He had to play more aggressive than he was. He would kind of just play smart and let the game come to him, and, if he has a lead, play calm and burn. Like
Yeah.
strategically playing the games. I think, he got pushed by Joseph to like get a 900,000 score. He was also playing more. So just like as the people get better and better, it's just the scores are getting higher and higher. Like I've seen my score, progress throughout the years.
Is it the goal for you to get a max up before CTWC 2021?
I would love that, or at CTWC 2021, like
During the qualifier.
In the qualifier, yeah, and
You have 2 hours time.
make the main bracket, maybe, and then get spanked by a higher seed. Yeah, that's the goal.
It's double elimination. You always have a second chance.
True.
We're now in 2014. We're 5 editions in. How much did the team grow from 2010 to 2014?
I mean, every year there was a couple more players that would show up. So a couple of players here and there would come. Like Jeff Moore came that year. I think there was Cameron Urey came that year. I haven't seen him around in a while. I think that was the first year. Or no, Eli had been coming for a while. Eli came in 11. He was in that tournament. But just seeing that the players year after year, that everyone would continue to come. But we'd gain a couple players each year, and then it just got progressively more and more over time until like this last year, or in 18, Joseph wins, and then in 19, like Bad Boy, Dan QZ are there.
Did you saw that when Joseph won in 2018, you saw a high grow for 2019?
Oh yeah, the growth was nuts. It inspired all these young players that are out there, and anyone could come and beat, someone just dethroned the 7-time champ, all right, now I can pick up this game and I can play for a year and be better than that person, possibly, but I have to do this new trick called hyper tapping, which I'm young.
Yeah.
I'm young I've never played the game, so I could like learn it at that level rather than like if I was to hyper tap, it would take me, some time to get my grip right or whatever. It's like the day I switched from being like a triple flipper, when I was like, oh, I could do it both ways. That took me a couple months to half a year to like get my brain to recognize the pieces and which button to press, which now is like instinctual,
Yeah, it's now full muscle memory.
But it was like growing up having a whole life of being like, oh, I'll just do the one. I never thought, that it would do the other way, I guess I should have read the instruction manual.
Then Howard can give you some tips.
That's right.
Let's go to 2015. It's the first year in the HD era of CTWC. Trey Harrison, I think, joined the team that year. Wrote a sharpener program called Treyvision. What was the first time that you saw Treyvision?
Well, yeah, 2015. That's the year Trey joins the team because in 14, we had some technical difficulties with getting the projection to work, and I believe it just drove Trey mad, where he was seeing what was going on. It was basically like, for whatever reason, we didn't have the right cord to go from the computer to the projector, and every cord we tried didn't work. So I don't know if it was a projector problem or what, but it was one of those things where it was like we had one day to figure it out, right? Or 2 days, or like starting on the Wednesday or Thursday, whenever I got to Portland is when it would start being worked on. So ended up being like we were shooting. There was a camera shooting. It was just like Jerry. A camera was like shooting the computer, and it was going from the computer from the camera to the projector. So it was just like the camera was shooting the computer, and that was being broadcast. So it was just didn't really work the way it was. And then Trey was like, "Oh, how can I help?" And so luckily Trey lives close to me, or where I used to live, and we would hang out. I mean, since 2010, that's when I met Trey. We would go. We'd go to like lunch once a month, once every 2 months, and then our friendship became stronger and stronger, where we see each other more often. Like weekly coffee dates or whatever. So, so I saw early off when he was working on. He was like, "Hey Vince, check this out. Come in after like a lunch or something." And I was like, amazed by what he was doing. And he continued to work on that to where it is now, where you can play online. So.
That was amazing to see the transition from the could only be possibly at the CTWC or the qualifiers which he attended, that we now can play it online.
Right. It's great.
Oh.
That, and then Yubi's doing some great stuff. That's incredible.
Yeah, we used that for the Dead or Like the Friend tournament.
Yeah.
That was the first time that I used a device like that. Normally I'm good old traditional restreams.
Right.
But it was the first time I had to use either Nestor Streams or Maxed Out Club.
Yeah, that was my first Nestris Champs experience as well. I had tried it out, because I've been talking to UB a little bit. Try to get it like on my stream, get some of that data going on, and I haven't quite figured it out, but yeah, I love what he's doing as well with all that extra data is just nuts.
I think once you have it under control, it's very easy to control.
Yeah. I just have a problem bringing it into OBS without it lagging, but I'm gonna figure it out.
Yeah. What was the reaction from the audience when 1 year you had normal like Tetris output, and then a year later you had HD Tetris?
Oh, people were stoked for sure. It was it made, it was the one thing that, say I or Adam didn't have capability on, and Trey, really fit that filled that hole and made that part of the tournament, like the production side, way better. People noticed and complimented it, and it makes the YouTube videos great, which probably why we don't have a lot of the footage earlier. I was always, wanting to have face cams and stuff like that, and we had them in, every year, but it wasn't as good and as professional as this. So it took us to the next level for sure.
And the first year that Trey wrote the program, joined the team, he was playing himself. Did someone know how to operate that program, or was he the only one?
No, he made it simple. Like he gave me like a rundown of how to do it, or like the 5 buttons that I needed to be sure of how to use. Like how to add a heart, or how to change the name. So I had the basic, and I think Adam got the same. It was a quick training. He set it up in a way that was pretty much dummy proof for somebody like me going in, or Adam to like click around. I mean, there was a lot of things going on. I was like, I don't really want to touch anything. Just tell me the 5 things that I should do, and then you can good luck at your match. So.
I just pray nothing goes wrong when Trey is playing a match.
No, Trey sets it. He we put all the practice in, but things could go wrong. But yeah, put the practice in, and do the setups and the testing, and over test, and figure out all the problems, and then there shouldn't be a problem, and if it is, he's on it and he'll fix it quickly. I'd be like, I don't know, raise my hand, Trey.
In the middle of the match, I'm sorry, Trey, it doesn't work. Can you please pause and you need to fix it?
It would be fine. I mean, things always go wrong, and then it's just how you deal with them. That
true.
You don't panic. So.
You went to the same piece sets cartridges.
I mean, that had been the dream since the beginning, 2010, to have exist. Which there's a lot of failed attempts to get that working. Over the years, and once again, I don't know. I think it's ASM 626502 is the code that you would write in. I kind of half learned it long ago because I was like helping people make sprites for games. But I have no idea how to do that correctly. But yeah, there was some failed attempts, and then like a group of programmers, Trey and Alex Kerr and this guy Brian, some others, helped make that happen.
Did you need approval from the Tetris company to use those during a Tetris sponsored event?
Well, they're just it's just like a game genie is essentially what it is. So it's not, we're still using the real games.
Was that the same like what the Top 8 main event got during last year?
Correct, yeah, same thing.
And 2016 is the year of the most famous viral video of classic Tetris, Boom Tetris for Jeff.
Absolutely.
When that video got popular in 2018, so back in 2016, when that final was happening, did you had any clue that this was going to be a viral video?
No, not at all. I mean, it was just it was a fun match because Jeff's a great competitor, and I mean I've seen Jeff play. There was a side station hit match, Jeff versus Buko, that was off stream in 2015 or no 2000 might have been. Yeah, I think it was 15. Yeah, where Jeff played Buko, and they had like the highest scoring match of all time. It was like 800 versus 800 to 800 or something. And
Yeah.
it was like at the time, it was like getting a 600 or 700 was like a guaranteed win. So I was always rooting for Jeff because I think he lost to Buko that year, and he's just one of the sweetest guys you'll ever meet. So.
He definitely became a fan favorite after the viral video.
But yeah, definitely never expected the Boom Tetris for event meme, which might be to blame for Joseph getting in the scene. Seeing that and then being inspired to play or something like that. I have no idea. So
I think it's a video first for a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
It was the video first for me. I was watching it and I was like, "What am I watching? What am I watching?"
And then you went down the rabbit hole, right?
Not directly, but I was invested in it. Like, why are these two grown men are playing Tetris? Why is there a world championship in Tetris? I didn't understand.
Right. Yeah.
And 3 years later, I'm in the middle of that same rabbit hole.
Yeah, you're running a podcast and you're talking to everyone about it.
Exactly. But yeah, the first time I saw it, I didn't understand it. I didn't understand it at all. Is that the aim that you not necessarily try, but would like to have a viral video every world championship?
For sure. I mean, that's the goal of anything. But I mean, just having the championship is the goal, and making it good and having a great final round or every round is definitely something that you would want to see. We got lucky. I mean, we uploaded the videos for that Boom Tetris for Jeff year, 2016, in say November, and I don't think it became popular until like April or something, where all of a sudden we had 1 million views. It went from like 10,000 to 1 million in a week. And I think what happened was somewhere in China or something, there was like a game show that talked about the video or showed the video, and then all of a sudden there was 1 million views that week. And then that probably got the guy's attention that made the Boom Tetris for Jeff video. So that could have been the start of it. I don't know. And now we're here.
It's weird how viral videos work.
Yeah.
It's the same like that you have in 2020 CTWC. You have 170 competitors,
Mm-hmm.
and the two finalists are brothers.
It's nuts. Yeah.
It's yeah, that's definitely nuts. It's still the finals of CTWC have still contested under the same roof.
I'm just glad they had 2 setups, Imagine if they only had 1 setup. So
Oh man, that would be brutal.
so that could have been interesting, be like, all right, just send us the results. I don't know. One at a time. I don't know.
Before the top 8 main event, did you write down, or did the team write down several scenarios what could happen if certain players faced off against each other, and passes them on to the commentators so they can use that during the broadcast?
Yeah, we have a stats team that was helping out, Pumpy, Hart, and Rory last year. Game Scout's now part of the team this year. So they would send things over, and they made spreadsheets of this and this and that to help the commentators out for sure. I mean, Pumpy told me it's kind of funny a couple of weeks ago that this last year there's been X amount of matches, right? And that number of matches equals or is greater than the amount of matches that had happened since 2010. So like the amount of matches that ever existed have now doubled this year.
Yeah, it's insane.
And nuts like that.
Pumpy said to me that we'll probably end up with 12,000
nuts
recorded classic Tetris matches this year alone.
I mean, you could watch Tetris, any minute of the day now.
Yeah, yeah.
I got
Just put up Twitch, go to the Tetris page, and there's someone playing Tetris, or there's
Right.
someone restreaming a match.
Yeah, I find myself, watching here and there, everything that's on there. So I'll like work and I'll like put, CTL will be on and I'll just be hanging out, watching it. I don't always comment. I do a lot of lurking, but it's fun to just see all this stuff that's going on. Even, anybody playing.
Are there certain streamers that once they are live, you need to watch it?
I mean, I got the people that come over and hang out on my channel. I usually go hang out in their channel when I see them live. Like I'll hang out with Burrito Dad or, Aaron Jaws, Hamoki, or Steve. Steve's there. Or this guy DBS that I like to talk to. Me and him played the new Mario Golf game on Switch over Twitch, and it's just been a lot of fun just to connect with people. But yeah, I see. I like watching the King's channel. I like checking in on CTM. Yeah, all those guys. So anyone playing, I usually jump in. Check out for a while, see what they're doing.
Yeah.
But no favoritism here. I do. When Jonas passed, it was I didn't really know what to do, and the weeks after that, I was I put up that half mast thing on the main channel, but I was just kind of going around to see what was going on in the, I just click on the Tetris category, right? And I would
Yeah.
pop in and see what was going on in random people's channels. And it was a lot of fun to just see what people were doing. And I would like say something on, these two kids were playing, or these young guys were playing a match against each other that they like figured out, but they were like scoring like 8,000 to like 11,000 points, and they were just having the best time. They were like giving honor to Jonas, who they didn't know anything about until the articles came out, and I would just say hi to them. Hey, what's going on, guys? And then they would explain to me the story of what happened. So it was fun to see that going on and people embracing a true legend for sure. And then like I saw, one of them was Ramations, who's now a max out player. He was, I don't know if he took it on at that time, but that's when I started seeing him. He was like a 400,000 point player. And I said hi to him, and now he's way better than I am. So look at that. And he's my favorite player. He's gonna win this year.
Yeah, you're gonna bet on it.
Him and Cheese in in the finals.
Ooh, okay, write it down, people. Write it down. In 2018, before that, Joseph Saley posted a max out video on YouTube and got invited by the Classic Tetris YouTube channel. I don't know if it was you who wrote it or someone else who wrote it, that he should come to Portland and join the players in CTWC, try to qualify. Had you any idea what he was about to do?
I had no idea. I admire him for coming out to the tournament. I mean, it's got to be extremely intimidating being 16 years old, walking into a room that's 35-year-old plus, and just throwing down. So I don't know if he had nerves or what he had, or what you could expect somebody to have that's 16, but he kicked ass and was incredible. So I enjoyed watching all the matches he was playing, and he was calm throughout all of them. So it was impressive to see, him against like Corian, who was like somebody he, looked up to as far as hyper tapping and taking that style. And, they went, toe to toe together. And then he has to play Jonas, who he probably watched the videos and learned the moves from. So it's just kind of a very cool thing for Joseph to just, meet his heroes and, play against them. And win, and just sweep Jonas like later, dude,
When did you realize that he had the potential to win it?
I mean, probably when he was playing Corian. I root for Corian all the time because he travels from Japan, and he's always getting close to the end. I know he's dealing with, jet lag and all that. So I root for
Yeah.
Corian. He's the first kind of hyper tapper in the tournament. So it was a good battle to see him versus Joseph for sure. And yeah, it definitely was, thought Corian was gonna, you know, take that one because Corian had the tournament experience and stuff like that. So it was really good to see Joseph be able to beat his master or his sensei or whatever, guru or whatever you want to call it.
Oh man! And then a year later, they met in the finals.
Right. Yeah. And then they had a blast with it. That whole push down thing.
That was so amazing. Oh man, I didn't watch it live on Twitch. I was subscribed to the YouTube channel and I saw that the videos were uploaded. The finals was about to premiere at 1 a.m. local time, 1 a.m. here in the Netherlands. And I had to go to work. I had to go to work a day later, and my alarm was set at 6:30 or 7 a.m. I don't even know. But I said to my wife, F it, I'm going to watch that finals. I need to find out who wins CTWC 2019. And that match, I mean, the same stacking, pushing down, laughing, having fun. It was such a fun final.
Yeah, it was great to see like the difference in Joseph from like maybe being nervous or just like not knowing what to do in 18 when he was, you could see he was like laser focused, and then in 19 he was like having fun up there, and able to
Yeah.
he upped his game over the course of that year, I'm sure, so that just the one push down point in Corian, and then them just having a great relationship with your opponent is just without being able to speak necessarily the same language. I mean, Corian is able to speak English, but there's definitely a barrier. But we all speak the same Tetris language, so it's just
Indeed,
a
yeah.
respect for one another. And yeah, that one was so fun to be part of live in person, and because it was in that room by itself. It was like the crowd was like interacting with them while they were playing, which hasn't really happened before, where you would see like like James Chen and Chris Tang would say something, and then Joseph would respond to it.
Yeah.
With like the
How many
little thinking thing that he did.
how many people fitted in that room?
I don't know. It was probably like it was jam packed. I mean, I had to leave once or twice to go get something, and I could barely get in. Again, I had to like push people and stuff to get back to where I was. So it was more people wanted to come in, but we're like, I can't go in there. No room for me. But yeah, it was jam packed. I would say 500. I don't know. I don't know how to
Cool.
estimate that, but it was packed. We need a turnstile next year, one of those things they have at the, concerts or whatever, You go in and you have to spin the little thing, and it counts for you.
Yeah. So you can brag about it online. So many people have watched Tetris.
Yeah.
or do it like WWE, just made up a number.
There's 10 million people.
Exactly, 10 million people watch that Twitch.
Just include all the online views into like pretend they were there, yeah.
And then came last year, CTWC 2020. Yeah, before we knew it, we were in the pandemic. Looking back now, are you happy with how everything went last year?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, it was stressful to obviously change the whole format and figure out a new way to get things done. And some things didn't work properly. Like registration had some hiccups where some certain people was debiting their money and not accepting it on our end or something like that. So it was just a lot of work to just make sure everyone got their money back and fix it, and learn from the experience, because you're doing all these things for the first time, sort of say, or like making a new style.
When the announcement was made last year and you did the interviews with both Game Scout and myself, did you have a 100% clear picture of how everything was supposed to go? Or were you still trying to figure out those details?
I don't remember the exact moment, but I'm sure there was things still being figured out. Like, like for example, last year, the qualifying week, right? There was no plan to do anything for that. There was no plan to do like the Friday night showcase of whatever talent, with Jaws, Uncle Mike, and myself. But yeah, so I was just sitting around watching during the qualifying day what was going on. I was like, you know what? I had all the 4 people's streams up, and I was like, I'm just gonna put all this together in one stream and throw it on the CTWC channel, and then it kind of just became something where everyone was really enjoying being there and watching everyone play, because everyone was bouncing around the other streams like I was to see what was going on. And then so I did that, and I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to do this every day for 24 hours. So like
Chris Forward's good.
Chris Forrest definitely could. The guy doesn't sleep. I don't know what his deal is. He's part robot. I don't know. But like he stepped up to do the late night shift, and then Van Dweller, Keith did a bunch of the other ones. I think it was just the 3 of us, and I think we covered most of the time. Like Keith was taking the day into the early afternoon, and I was doing the afternoon to night at some point, and it was just kind of like whatever goes. That bring random people in to talk about it. It was nice to see the like Sharky jumped in, Joseph jumped in, Keith would jump, Kingsman, Bidwell would jump in. Everyone would just come around and show up and talk to the chat and talk about what was going on. It was just very exciting to see all the max outs, and like people playing.
Yeah.
So definitely now it's definitely like a part of the plan of the show this year. So
I have to showcase up immediately from the start.
Yeah, I think I started it on like Tuesday last year. I think I missed Monday because there was only a couple people on Monday. But yeah, definitely have it up the majority of the time.
I was qualifying on a Tuesday. I was the first up on Tuesday. It was pretty early Pacific time. And a half a day later, there was a showcase on Classic Tetris, and I'm like, okay, fine.
Oh, you didn't know? I just pulled it in.
Yeah,
you're like, oh, people were watching me. Yeah, I guess I don't know if that's like more intimidating or not for a player. But
I didn't read my chats. I had the viewers count. I had that turned off, so I could fully focus on my Tetris play. And 295K was a great score for me. That
you killed it, man. So now this year you're gonna max out. So
I'll go for 500K. That's my goal. Last year, you also were in post-production of your The Palindromist documentary. Was it difficult to work on both projects at the same time?
It was, yeah. I mean, both those projects kind of came to like a head at the same moment. Luckily, I was, I did all the animations, which was like the hardest part of the post-production of that film, and I finished that, a month or 2 before the tournament, the CTWC started. So other than that, it was just kind of like signing a deal, getting the deal made, and then the little things at the end aren't as difficult to say, editing or finishing off that. So it was done in time to be able to relax for CTWC, and nice to finish 2 things at the same time.
What were the biggest challenges that the team had to overcome during CTWC 2020?
I mean, it's just we're lucky enough where there's this great community, right? And this whole online community with the different streamers that are already out there, CTM, CG, CTL, the friendlies and all that. And just a community of people that want to help and are willing to help and have different abilities on their own. And it made it really easy. I mean, the online community exists already, so it was proven to be something that could be easily done, with experts like Keith and Beast and Shen with his World Puzzle League experience, and just it made it really easy. I mean, Trey had to figure out how to do the Max Out Club online. There was a time where we weren't sure that was going to work, so we were going to have to just do a standard like CTM style thing with maybe bigger cameras. That was a possibility, but also figuring out how to do the scheduling and how to sign up and like what time the judges and the staff are available to do the Discord call with the players to check their equipment, make it fair and keep it keep it reasonable. And, so like the team was formed, and, luckily there's people around the globe that want to help. And, happy to say, that, everyone that helped got, paid a fair amount, I think, so that's been a goal of mine for a long time. In the last couple of years, so we've been able to pay everyone that helps. So, I mean, there was a bigger budget, obviously, this year for getting people paid, because people were working more than 2 days. Like
Yeah.
Chris Forrest probably put a whole month of work into it. And we're streaming. We're streaming. It's like 6-7 days of streaming between the gold and the silver brackets. Just a lot more time from everyone, and a bigger tournament. So it's definitely a mass undertaking, and really, really good, and really couldn't thank the community enough for stepping up, and people being patient. A lot of players were very patient with when there was a trouble with their sign up or something, they would hit me up. I kind of became like this IT guy for the week, or support, whatever. And was like, all right, I guess this is the job I have this week, which was fun. It was fun to just chat with everyone and be like, all right, I got you. Don't worry about it. Help you out.
Yeah. Is it stressful being the organizer for the major event of the year?
Not. I mean, it was like the first 3 years of the tournament. I would be at the tournament and I'd be like sweating, like worried something was gonna go wrong, like checking on everything. And now I'm more kind of like there's enough people on the team and stuff like that, that I'm not worried about that aspect that I used to be worried about. So I love doing this and love being a part of it, and I'm just so I would have never imagined it would be as big as it is now. When it started in 2010, I always knew it was. I always thought, this is great, this is cool, and then a couple years into it, I was like, oh, we should be on ESPN. This is definitely ESPN worthy. And then you get on,
Yeah.
and then you get on ESPN, and that dream comes true. And I'm like, all right, well, let's get in the Olympics now. Like that's there's no reason why it wouldn't be in the Olympics. Like skateboarding is in the Olympics this year for the first time, right? And I kind of compare, and Aaron Jaws Hamoki kind of compared it to the skate scene. The early skate scene is the Tetris scene, and I like that comparison a lot. And it's just, I saw that they would, the Olympic Committee was willing to consider video games that were nonviolent, and I don't think, historically, there's not a game like Tetris where it's like the rules are the same. It's like a chess game, or or just even running around a track. The rules have been the same. Just like the shoes change or the play styles change, or like you get like the Fosbury flop, that happened in the high jump, stuff like that was what Dr. Wayne Gray of Cogworks told me. He compared that Joseph to that Fosbury flop moment, which I think is an incredible comparison to changing a sport. So I definitely think it'll be in the Olympics, or at least considered one day. I mean, if you're taking out all the violent games, I mean, which is the ones that most people play, like Call of Duty, whatever, League of Legends, whatever. Those are, I guess I would consider those violent. They're killing people, killing monsters. I don't know if that's as violent as killing fake humans. I have no idea. But I guess in Tetris, you're destroying blocks. Is that
you're making lines disappear.
Yeah, you're a terrible person. You made a line disappear.
Exactly.
To really play the game, you have to get 0. Just make a nice stack. And
does it help that you have a friendly relationship with Arda Ocal, and that he always helps since I think 2018 with the CTWC events, and he's also part of the main bracket last year?
Yeah, Arda is a great guy. He definitely helped get into the ESPN chats, and I met Arda in 18. I met him in Pittsburgh. He had called me. Me and him had like a phone conversation, and he's big in like the whole NHL '94 scene, and a bunch of the other old retro scenes. And he talked to me we talked on the phone for a good hour, and he was like, you know what, I'm going to come to Pittsburgh, and I'll do commentary, and it'll be kind of like a job interview type situation. So he came with his wife to Pittsburgh because he's a New Yorker, and I loved what he was doing. I was like, we got to get you out to the main tournament, and he's just one of those guys that fit really well and filled a role that we didn't have really. That was always something that I dreamed of having, like the interviewer, or to build up these characters. So Arda does a great job and did his research. I don't know if you've seen his interview with Jonas where he just goes throughout the years, and you could tell that Arda he like takes in all the information, knows it all, and is able to articulate and ask questions. So he's a man of experience, and no reason why he's like on ESPN now. So or on SportsCenter.
On Sports Center,
Yeah.
yeah.
So I congratulate him for sure.
Will he be back for CTWC 2021?
Definitely. I mean, he'd definitely be involved in some way. Yeah.
And the rest of the crew who appeared last year, will they be back?
It's basically going to be the same exact crew, maybe with some additions to the crew. Like Game Scout offered to be part of the stats team. I have my friend. He goes by Tyrannosaurus Rad on Twitch. He lives in Japan. He offered to be a judge that would help those time zones out. So it's just kind of just finding more parts that maybe were missed in the previous year to make this year go more smooth, which last year with all the help, it went pretty smooth. I mean, there was a couple hiccups here and there, but it's nothing that I think people were patient and understanding about. So
I think the biggest hiccup was the power outrage
Oh,
on Nenu
yeah.
in the semifinals. What went through your mind when I think he texted you or something like that? I can imagine that he texted you that he had lost power and maybe didn't know what to do.
Yeah, we didn't know what to do. Yeah, I don't know. I forget, it was probably a Discord thing. We had all the Discord set up, so he might have just said something in one of those. Yeah, I mean, he figured all the. I give credit to all the international players that play in weird time zones constantly. So like Nenu playing at 6 a.m. his time, or starting at 3 a.m. or whatever it was for him. I have no idea, but definitely feel bad for people that have to play in weird time zones. But
How worried were you that Nenu might not find a solution and had to forfeit his semifinal match?
I mean, that would have been terrible to way to end his 2020 path. I would have felt bad for it. There was nothing we could have to reschedule it for another day or something. I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's in the rules. We have rules for reasons like that. Like if we have to disqualify you, it's that's the rules. I don't know. It's not natural disaster like power outage or something. You can't really account for that. So.
And then he went to his friend's house, and then you hope that the internet was good there, or I don't know. It's
Yeah, his friend is the real hero there.
Yeah, he was awake at 7 a.m.
You probably woke him up. Yeah, for sure. But yeah, it was quite the story. The whole thing made for a great story, and then the two brothers meeting in the same house. Just you couldn't ask for like a better news story. It almost seems scripted as it is.
Was it scripted?
Wink, wink. Frank.
Tetris is pro wrestling after all, so you never know.
Yeah, totally. Just like wrestling, we gotta put on a show here, Frank.
Let's go to this year. CTWC is once again online this year. When did you know that CTWC was going to be online once again?
I mean, pretty much from the get go of last year. There wasn't really an end in sight to this pandemic, and having a worldwide championship, a truly worldwide championship now, having it or planning it in person, that takes a lot of effort. Portland, I don't know if they announced by then that they weren't going on this year, but I think from the get go we weren't going to do it in person. It just seemed too risky to plan and put that effort in.
So even if there was going to be a retro gaming expo, CTWC wasn't going to be there.
I mean, we were invited to say, the one in Phoenix that was probably going to happen, which ended up getting canceled this year.
Yeah.
I think, the same way as the Portland guys think, it just wasn't in the cards this year. It didn't seem fair to or smart to even start planning and wasting time on making an event happen that was likely going to be canceled or had a high probability of being canceled. So,
Yeah.
and then especially, my thought on it was, this is a worldwide tournament and, we're in a pandemic and, who knows what's happening in each other countries around the world. Like maybe, people from the Netherlands or can't travel or something like that, but people from, France can, or so it just wouldn't be fair to the world. So
Would that be the mindset of organizing a real life tournament in the future? That everyone can come, or is there a possibility that there will be a hybrid version, like people from Canada, US, Mexico can travel to Portland, but the ones who can't for various reasons will play through Max Out Club and be part of the tournament itself?
I mean, there's definitely got to have some kind of conversation about that. But I mean, how fair would that be that somebody is sitting at home playing versus somebody that's dealing with a large crowd? So I think you have to all be in the same room. Maybe something that would happen would be like a bunch of different online qualifiers would happen, and say 32 people were selected to come and compete, and there would be no qualifier, right? They would just be that would be the thing, or 64 or whatever. Like you made the top 64, now you have to go to this place, or we have enough budget to send people. You know, like
Yeah.
like last year there was early talks of getting to the top 8 and then flying the top 8 to a location that we could do it in person. Rather even be like a studio where there's only 20 people, but then that it became obvious that that wasn't even a good idea. So, and then the cost of doing that would be crazy too. So it'd be like flying everyone out, renting the studio, renting the equipment wasn't in the cards. But yeah, in the future, I mean, that might be where it has to go, where we have to invite only, or you have to go to the smaller tournaments to win your way in to the bigger tournament, which would be kind of more like a major sporting tournament, like whether it be NASCAR or Wimbledon or whatever.
Is that the next step?
Possibly. I mean, I can't tell you for sure, but I do really love the qualifying aspect of the tournament in person, and I think that should stay. It just is a matter of probably getting it a lot more space and a ton more TVs and a ton more Nintendos, and more staff. So it just everything has to grow at the same time, which thankfully enough, there's a lot of people that just want to help. How can I help?
Yeah.
Vince, that a lot of people ask me, like, what can I do? Like, give me a task. Like, here's my credit card. Go find some Tetris things and buy yourself lunch. I don't know, whatever.
Yeah. Is this year easier to organize compared to last year?
Oh, absolutely. I just sticking with the same format that worked. I think what I really like is, sticking to something similar, because then we can compare, the tournament last year to this year, see the growth, whether if you change like one little rule or something, it would be different, I mean, one
Yeah.
thing might be we might add the bronze bracket, which is probably for sure going to happen, trying to get, more prize money is my goal, um,
Is there already in confirmation of what the prize money will be or what the winner will receive?
it'll definitely be, the same as last year, if not more. So I'm pushing for, like 25,000, so that, more people can get paid out, and I like paying it out, as deep as you can, so that people are motivated to play, and even, like spread the joy amongst everyone.
Yeah. Some viewers last year thought that 4 brackets a weekend over 2 weekends long gave a lot of Tetris, and maybe more Tetris that we could possibly
handle. Yeah.
could handle. Yeah. Was there any consideration about decreasing the available spots for 2021?
No real talks on that. I don't think that would to decrease the spots to make it less. People just want to play in it, and I mean, if you can't handle that much Tetris, you could go do something else. It's like I'm not. I guess it was maybe hard to follow because the double elimination bracket, and this person's still going. But I think the commentators did a good job of explaining that, and people have seen it last year, so that this year they'll know exactly what's happening, and you definitely expect the scores to go up this year for sure. So decreasing the amount of entrants would be like you have to max out 4 times to enter. I don't know, to make the main bracket. Yeah.
I mean, last year the cutoff score for the gold bracket was 919,000 points. It could be close to a max out, if not a max out, to get into the gold bracket.
I definitely think it'll be at least you need a max out. I did have an idea of a new rule where maybe you would have to play. You'd start off qualifying 18, and then once you got your max out, you'd start playing 19 starts. But I want to keep it the same as last year, so that you can kind of compare what happened. Joseph beat his 12 max out record, which I think you can get maybe 14 in an hour or 2 hours, maybe 15. Maybe you have to push down. I don't know.
Yeah, it's like go to 999 and then top out immediately and then start another game again.
I believe that's what people were doing last year. I don't know. Many people played, went from 1.3s or anything like that.
No, because it was score cap.
Yeah.
So you can go for a 1.3, but it's good for your ego, but you only lose time.
Right. And you're going to play less aggressive than a 1.3 strategy game. You're not going to stack and not take all the burns. You're like forcing yourself to stack extra high and never burn. With the max out, coming from someone that's never maxed out over here, but yeah, you can watch.
But you were close.
Yeah, but yeah, I burn when I have to. That's what you got to do with DAS. But yeah, so all these 1.3 players and 1.4 players, they know the exact number of burns they can take in order to get just the max out. So there's a little more leniency in the playstyle. Yeah.
Hey, my last question for you is: what do you think will happen during CTWC season?
I think a lot more players are going to come out of the woodwork. We're going to see a lot of new faces. I think we're going to see a lot of upsets, a lot of double max outs. I think you're going to need 1, maybe 2 max outs to qualify. I'm excited to see all the road to CTWC events and see who comes out of those to represent those communities. I think it's going to be great, and it's going to be something that you've never seen before, and maybe it'll land in the. I would like to see an international person win the trophy for once. I think that would be cool. Sorry, USA players, but yeah. I think it would be cool to see it be taken out of the United States. I mean, it finally got moved from California to Texas, so it's moving east,
slowly to the east.
So maybe
there are a lot of great players in New York, and that's way east than Texas. So we can take it in steps. This year it goes to New York, the state of New York.
Yeah, I could see that.
And then it can go across the pond, goes to Western Europe, and then slowly goes to Asia. And so it makes a world tour.
I like that. Yeah, it goes it takes the old Silk Road across Asia. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah,
that would be amazing. Yeah. Well, New York. Yeah, I mean all those New York guys. This will be their 3rd meetup at Blank's Garage. So they're all getting the in life tournament practice in, as well as competing with each other.
Yeah.
And so I guess strong players, and just all the CTM matches are crazy nowadays. So, which is
Oh man, yeah, that's nuts. I can't always watch the Masters live, but I watch the VODs back, and jeez,
yeah,
it's something, a skill that I like to possess, but then again, not really want to invest my time into it. Yeah, it's
there's a lot of Tetris to watch nowadays. Yeah, I usually don't watch back the VODs, but I guess you're in Europe, so that might be a way for you to watch some of the bigger competitions. But I will check out the Game Scout videos. David does a great job.
I always watch the Game Scout videos, but I have a confession to make. I don't watch a lot of Tetris live because I'm either restreaming or I want to, because most of the Tetris matches are happening at evening for me, at around 8-9 p.m. And I also have a wife, and I also have a child, and I like to sit on the couch with my wife and not thinking about Tetris. So I like to watch Tetris on my own time, maybe a day later, but I watch it.
That's fair. You gotta spend time with your family. That's important to have a good moderation of different things and activities.
Yeah, my wife hates this time of period where I have a podcast and 2 weeks later have another podcast, and then Sunday the Mexico qualifier, and then the end of the month of August they have the Benelux qualifier, and then she is okay. I'm glad it's over. Let's go back to a normal life.
Yeah, you got to take the next bunch of months off. What's good?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. My wife isn't into Tetris, so it's different. So you need to balance it, I think.
Yeah, well, my girlfriend wasn't really into Tetris, so she now streams and plays with me. So we have a good time with it. Meg the Egg, shout out.
Shout out to Meg the Egg. Vince, thank you so much for coming on the show. It was a real pleasure.
Yeah, Frank, thanks for having me. This is a lot of fun, and anything you need ever, let me know.
And with that all being said, this will be the end of the Peace Dependency podcast. Thank you all for listening, and make sure you follow the podcast on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. And don't forget to join the Tetris Friendlies Discord server and follow me on the socials at Sir Mason. For now, have a great Tetris month, and I will see you all in September. Bye! The Peace Dependency podcast was brought to you by Total Red NES. Shop your Goofy Food Controller, TWO merch, and CTWC approved hardware on TotalRedNES.com.